Hey guys, if you take Foxhole's logistics and war effort and you put it with PlanetSide's real-time battles and Albion's seasonal content and build diversity, you get Warborne. In this video, I'm going to go through the pros and cons for Warborne and give my honest review. The game is a MOBA-style solo to large-scale content combat game. It has grand strategy. Seasons are a month long. Each season, the game is going to wipe, but you're going to get to keep the stuff that you've unlocked. So you still have access to the same equipment as before and then some, which makes the game's meta progression feel good. The game is based around 100 versus 100 combat, but performance and networking hardly have any issues at all. And given the iterations that they've made already, these battles that take place can be done on screen at ease, much better than Albion, which is its main competitor, in my opinion. It's very easy to get into these battles. It's easy to get into a community. It is a collaborative, social aspect game where each faction is fighting for power. Combat feels fun. With low time to kill and multiple lives, I think that it makes this MOBA-style combat feel good, especially given that death isn't super punishing since it isn't full loot. You only lose a couple of items on death or half of your inventory. There's good shifts in the meta as new strategies pop up, evolving gameplay, build variety, options due to the nature of gear determining the abilities that you're using makes it so that you have like a lot of agency over how your character is like played. The deployables that you put down add a lot of experience to the game, despite their slight imbalances, which is something that I think they're going to iterate over time and probably should. Loot is distributed during combat based on damage, who did the assists, who did kills, and there's not really a need to focus on looting since you don't have to pick anything up, which makes combat feel a little bit more immersive. Given that the game is built around 100 versus 100 style combat, masses do exist, but the game does reward tight-knit, like elite bomb groups, and bombing feels very lethal in this game because the time to kill is so low. Solo players can generally make an impact by themselves on the battlefield, buffing on the map, solo bombing. Top faction PvPers often go by themselves or in a small group, even during non-wartime, to do content, because it is fun to do solo content in this game, which is unique to a game that works like this. Server progression is rapid, even with the time gating that exists in order to keep a level-ish playing field for more casual players, even if you're not paying to win, which does exist in this game. PvE content feels really good. It is worth doing. You feel rewarded when you're doing it, and there's always content on the map to do, even if you just have to roam around a little to find it. Big PvP battles and content are plentiful. The game feels alive when the factions are balanced, and even when the factions are imbalanced, there's usually 2 or 3 strong ones that you can fight with in order to get content during the wartime. Some of the cons with that, though, are that faction balance and faction switching in general is something that needs to be iterated on. 2 to 3 dead factions, like early in the season, because people jumping ship, it's a problem, but it won't stay like that forever. Guilds or warbands are gonna switch from faction to faction, especially between seasons, and the entire game is gonna get shuffled up between servers and things like that after each season ends, so no 2 seasons is likely to be exactly the same for you. Balance in general, even beyond that, is pretty good in the game, but it's difficult to measure because there are a ton of weapons and armors in the game that feel underwhelming, but they're not downright useless. That said, there are things that are like head and shoulders above the rest of the stuff in the game. Phantom Spear comes to mind. If that bothers you, you might want to wait until the beginning of next season or beyond to try to play the game, because it is something that they're going to have to iterate on, just like with other things. Keeping up with the top performers in the game can feel a little bit grindy, even with the time gating, mostly just because if you level up, you can't level up for like a long period of time with like huge chunks of XP without waiting a couple days to do so, because the level goes up so gradually. But it doesn't reward just sitting at your computer for 8 hours, which I really, really like, actually. Keeping up with the top performers in that way isn't impossible, though, because the economy in the game is that if you're making money at all, it is easy to stay afloat because it is so non-punishing when you're dying. If you go a build that you don't enjoy and you want to play something else, it can take some time to switch because you're going to have to unlock characters and weapons and things potentially over the course of a season or even the next season for you to switch playstyles. That said, that's something that can be only a now problem, because eventually you're going to unlock like a lot of stuff. You're going to have a lot of build diversity, especially given that you're going to have 3 different characters to equip at any given time. So they expect you to unlock a lot of the mid to like higher tier equipment eventually anyway. The pay to win creep in this game is potentially a problem. Pay to win does exist. Anyone telling you that it doesn't is they're kidding themselves. I typically hate pay to win. I don't like it at all. But in this game, in my opinion, it is less a problem because one person having, pay to win on the battlefield in battles this big, it's inconsequential in my opinion. The grand war strategy is still fun, even knowing that that stuff exists in the game. And you can earn the pay-to-win currency with stuff that you've earned in-game, just selling that stuff. So it's not like they have an advantage that you can't attain. I have the subscription in the game, for example, and I haven't paid a dime. So, take that with a grain of salt, in my opinion. Cluster queue is one of the last things that I wanted to talk about here. The queue system for joining maps during war is pretty frustrating. It doesn't always prioritize meaningful fights. It's just like there to keep it so that the faction number balance is the same. So if they have 150 people and you have 50 people, they're weirdly going to have more people than you anyway. So it doesn't really change anything, and it needs refinement to prevent players from just sitting out of big battles, basically. I don't like that. Realistically, Warborne feels like a rare gem. I really, really, really enjoy the game. I think that it is worth trying. It is a free-to-play game. You don't have to pay for anything if you don't want to. It is worth getting into the large-scale war game. It has smooth performance. There's seasonal wipes, so even if you have a bad season, it's easy to get into a new one. And if you are a fan of Foxhole, PlanetSide, Albion, RuneScape, any of those style of games where you can have bigger battles, it is absolutely worth trying, especially even into, like tactical depth, evolving metas. These are things that are going to be a constant in Warborne. Everything is going to evolve and change. If you have any questions or anything, leave a comment, guys, and feel free to like and subscribe. I'm trying to grow the channel. As always, I'll see you in the next one.